The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Tinubu, recently declared a state of emergency in Rivers State. Does the President have the powers to do what he did, removing an elected governor, an elected deputy governor, an elected House of Assembly?
This issue makes me sad. The President does not have the power under the Constitution to declare a state of emergency as he has done. Under the Constitution, the President has the power, the right to declare a state of emergency, but only if certain conditions are present. Those conditions were not present in the reasons given by Mr. President. It's unfortunate that what we have today in Rivers State is military dictatorship, contrary to Section 1, Sub 2 of the Constitution, that provides that no person or group of persons shall govern Nigeria or any part of Nigeria except in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. Section 305, Sub 3, vests the power to declare state of emergency in the President, either as far as the Federation, the entire Federation is concerned, or in any part of Nigeria. But listed certain conditions. I don't know, permit me to read Section 305, Sub 3. Just a few lines. Section 305 Sub 3 states, permit me, I quote, "The President shall have power to issue a proclamation of a state of emergency only when." What I want to emphasize is only when. In other words, only when the listed conditions are present. And there are 7 listed conditions. In other words, if those conditions are not present, then the President cannot declare a state of emergency. Even where, assuming without conceding that there is justification for declaration of a state of emergency, the Constitution does not empower Mr. President to remove the governor, deputy governor, and the legislators in the State House of Assembly. The Constitution does not empower Mr. President to appoint a sole administrator. And the sole administrator has also gone further, to remove, to destroy democratic institutions. He has suspended governing councils of state-owned institutions and companies. He has dissolved the Electoral Commission, the State Electoral Commission, at the state level. These are positions that are constitutionally provided. The manner of their appointment through the governor, the manner of their removal are constitutionally provided. And then we have a sole administrator removing offices or officers constitutionally provided for. President Bola Tinubu, for what he has done in Rivers State, has become a risk to society. It is a coup. It is a military coup that we have witnessed in Rivers State. And we should resist it. We should resist it because it is possible to extend it to other states. And unfortunately, even the Attorney General has warned other states that they are prepared to extend the experience in Rivers State. And all of these things are nothing but preparing for 2027.
But the National Assembly endorsed the proclamation of the President. That gives it the legitimacy required?
It does not. It has not given it any legitimacy, because the Constitution provides that a resolution supported by 2/3, they adopted the voice vote. By the voice vote, there is no way they can determine whether they had 2/3 majority or not. And one of the senators has actually come out, the former governor has come out to say that they did not have 2/3. I mean, there's no way you can determine 2/3 by a voice vote. So the Constitution expected a situation in which there will be counting. So what the National Assembly has done is unconstitutional in terms of not ensuring that they had 2/3 supporting that resolution. Unfortunately, the National Assembly is just destroying its image. It is nothing but a rubber stamp National Assembly.
You have talked about resisting the emergency. So how do we go about resisting? Through the courts?
Well, through the court in the final analysis. But from my own point of view, and depending on who my client is, particularly if they were trade unions, I will encourage them to undertake trade union actions, industrial actions within the confines of the law. Because the moment you are in court, you may not be able to combine political agitations in terms of street protests and all the rest. So I would always advocate peaceful street protests, massive peaceful peace protests against the military coup that has occurred in Rivers State. We should not perceive it as a matter, limited to the Rivers State alone. Because once we tolerate infraction of the Constitution, as far as Rivers State is concerned, then we will not be able to resist any other infraction.
That word military coup.
It's a military coup. It's a military coup because
a democratically elected president
who
took action.
Yeah, he has taken action in a subversive manner. Mr. President has subverted the Constitution.
The military is not in charge in Rivers. The military is not in charge.
The military is in charge. A retared military officer is in charge. A retired military officer is in charge, dictating and making laws. For example, the pronouncement suspending the political appointees, including governing councils of government-owned institutions, including the State Electoral Commission. These are laws being pronounced and being enforced by an individual. That is dictatorship. That is totalitarianism. That is not allowed under a written constitution. People should be sufficiently provoked to come out peacefully protesting against the subversion of the written constitution. I'm not a member of the APC. I'm not a member of the PDP. I'm not concerned with their politics. But the constitution should not be violated the manner in which we have seen it.
Is democracy under attack?
Democracy is being destroyed. There is what is going on is a de-democratization. Democratization. They are destroying democracy. They are destroying the written constitution. That is the worst thing that can happen. A democratically elected president unilaterally, tyrannically removing another democratically elected governor and other democratically elected legislators. That is the worst form of dictatorship. It is even worse than military dictatorship.
But
because he came to power on the basis of election, military rulers who carry out coup will not seek our consent before they carry out their coup. You cannot, obtain the consent of the people, and you swear to uphold the constitution, and you are working and destroying the same constitution. written constitution.
Comrade Aborisade, is the Nigerian electoral system a rigged system?
You can say that again. Because if it is not rigged, those who are in power ought to be implementing policies that will be in the interest of the people, that will safeguard the interest of the people. When you see policies that are against the interest of the people being implemented, then it means that system has been rigged against the people.
Now, if
the state has been captured against the people.
If the system has been rigged against the system, against the people, why do you expect democratic culture from those who have rigged the system?
Yeah, we do not expect democratic culture. We are only saying that we are telling the Nigerian people, those who are elected under the system that we run are
riggedly elected. If there's a word that I riggedly elected.
Exactly.
From your definition.
Exactly. Those who have been, they are actually your enemies. They deceived you that they will promote your interests, public good, by asking for your votes. But the moment they are there, they are actually acting against your interests. You have to fight. You have to resist. You have to struggle before you can enjoy benefits of democracy.
So the actions we are analyzing at the moment are actions or consequences of a rigged system.
Exactly. Exactly.
So to save the system is to stop the rigging of the system.
Exactly. We need to take back, and that's an organization, take back Nigeria. We need to take back Nigeria from those who have rigged themselves in power and destroying the lives, messing up the lives of our people.
And one of the consequences is adverse poverty and incessant violence in all parts of the country, right?
In all parts of the country. In actual fact, I argue that if anywhere deserves state of emergency declaration, it ought to apply to the federation as a whole. It is now ridiculous. The Constitution provides for declaration of state of emergency as far as the federation is concerned. If President Bola Tinubu had declared state of emergency, would he have removed himself as president of Nigeria? No. The Constitution does not provide for removal of Mr. President, just as it does not provide for removal of Mr. Governor, Deputy Governor, and the state legislature. That shows how ridiculous. Because insecurity is pervasive. Insecurity is even more pervasive in the northern part of Nigeria. Why didn't the Mr. President declare state of emergency in any state of the north? Even though the Attorney General has warned all the states that the Rivers State example could be extended to any. And that is why everyone should be warned. We should rise up. Because none of the conditions stipulated under Section 305 of 3 are present in the case of Rivers State. Rivers State is not in the first one is when the federation is at war. That does not apply to Rivers State. And definitely, Rivers State is not at war.
But there have been some disorder in that state.
The disorder that Mr. President mentioned in his speech happens to fall within the purview of his own responsibility, that they destroyed pipelines. It is not the state government that is in charge of the pipelines. It is the federal government. Mr. President is in charge of the control of the apparatus of coercion to either prevent it or to fish out the culprits and bring them to justice, not Mr. Governor.
You said what is going on is in preparation for the 2027 elections.
It is to sow the culture of fear, to intimidate, and possibly, if they have their way, they extend the Rivers State experience to other states, so that come 2027, only Mr. President will be available, will be re-elected It is politics of power, power retention, self-perpetuation in power. That is the way I read it.
Has the Femi Aborisade given up that struggle for political power? Because most of you tend to just be human rights activists. What about the struggle for political power?
Well, the way I see myself, in the past, I had contested, you are aware, in 2003, I contested to be governor of Oyo State when the late Chief Gani Fawemi contested to be governor. President of Nigeria, Femi Falana, governor.
Under NCP.
Under NCP, Dr. Osagi Obayuwana in Edo State. But today, at 68, I do not have that energy. I'm not like President Bola Tinubu, who at his age is still interested in directly being in control of power. I want to associate myself with democratic forces that will implement programs that will bring succor, to the lives of Nigerian people. I do not have to directly be a candidate in an election before I fight or identify with social change or struggles for social change. So I'm still around supporting all struggles for democratization and for resisting the de-democratization of our society, but not as a candidate.